Good afternoon, folks. How you doing? It's about 3:30 in the afternoon on this Wednesday, the 7th day of May, 2025. I'm going to talk about Pakistan and India. Um, India has finally retaliated after the April 22nd attack on the tourist location that killed 26 people. The resistance claimed responsibility for it. But we all know the resistance is LET, which is a terror organization made up of Wahhabists and Salafists. Of course, it's always Wahhabists and Salafists, the far right of the Muslim world. And India, who they're based out of Pakistan. Well, the Pakistani-controlled territories of Kashmir and wherever that conflict region is. So, India waited since April 22nd for Pakistan to take action against these terrorists who killed 26 people. And when they did nothing, they finally launched Operation Sindoor, which targeted, I think, 7 camps of these terrorist training facilities, which are all located right on the borders of the Pakistan-controlled area, in the disputed area, and the Indian-controlled areas. Clearly, they are camps of these terrorists. They made sure everybody understood what they were doing and why they were doing it. And they waited patiently for Pakistan to live up to their international obligations. Of course, they did not. Why didn't they? Because the LET is run by Pakistani intelligence, the ISI, which, by the way, is run by U.S. military, the Pentagon, Department of Defense, and most importantly, the Central Intelligence Agency. I'm going to show you links to all this stuff. They have long history. LET was actually created back, I think, in 87. In 1979, Osama bin Laden, after the so-called invasion of Afghanistan by the Soviets, Afghanistan wanted the Soviet Union to come in and help them out. They were leaning further away from us and closer to the Soviet Union. We couldn't have that whole world island thing, and Zbigniew Brzezinski was pulling his hair out. So we decided we would use a proxy army. They were called the Mujahideen. Later they'd be called, in 1988, they'd be called the List, or Al-Qaeda. They were run by the son of a billionaire family in Saudi Arabia by the name of Osama bin Laden. Turns out Hillary Clinton, it's a famous video now, admitted in Congress that yes, the United States created the Mujahideen and Osama bin Laden's group and ran them in Afghanistan in an effort to destabilize the Soviet Union. To drag that conflict out, we armed them, we gave them money. Of course, the Saudis gave them money. Others gave them money. But we did that as a means to drag it out and to tax the Soviet Union, make things hard for them, which she said was very successful. And it was. In 1988, Soviet Union left. Same year, Osama bin Laden took his Mujahideen and made what's called Al-Qaeda, or the List. And this was a list of terrorists, of proxy terrorists, who could be used in the future for such operations. And that's what happened. And they did that up until 2001. Well, what happened in 87, while he was putting the list together and wrapping things up with that proxy war in Afghanistan, he worked in Pakistan to make something similar. through the CIA and the ISI and, of course, the U.S. government and Pakistani government. And that something similar was LET. The same LET that called themselves the Resistance when they attacked a tourist location on April 22nd, 2025. By the way, they also carried out the Mumbai attack in 2008, which killed over 100 fucking people. Same organization. Same fucking people. Same proxy terrorists. You with me? I'm going to talk a little bit about the history of ISI, of LET, of Mondo Weiss, who's now saying, oh my God, it's Modi. Modi's the one behind the whole thing. They staged this whole thing so they could attack Pakistan for no apparent reason whatsoever. When the obvious reason is India and Modi getting closer to fucking Russia. When the obvious reason is the BRICS. There's obvious reasons for this. One of the obvious reasons is it's a nice distraction from Israel running a full-on ground invasion, doing what they said they were never going to do, a full-on ground invasion from the north moving south to force the people in the Gazans in a baton death march situation, driving them out. They're going to just drive them out using ground forces, mopping up as they go. Women, children, disabled, elderly, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So this serves their interest as well. And it's remarkable. What's remarkable is that there's so many people on social media who think they can run around it. And of course, this one person from Mondo Weiss, now I say it's Mondo Weiss, they published this article. But then you look at the individual who wrote it from Mondo Weiss, they only have one other article that they ever published for Mondo Weiss on Mondo Weiss, and that was in December of 2023, and it was some bullshit about people in Gaza saying, please don't celebrate Christmas. Some bullshit like that. Of course, the people in Gaza don't care if you celebrate Christmas. It was propaganda made to make Christians dislike Palestinians. So now we have Mondo Weiss, which I told you has been infiltrated, suggesting we need to stand with the ISI and Pakistan and LET and the resistance. To demonize Modi, to pressure Modi. Donald Trump was pressuring Modi at the time when this took place. J.D. Vance went there to meet with him. He wasn't even in fucking India, wasn't going to come back to India. J.D. Vance went there on April the 21st, landed, touchdown, was like, where's Modi? Going to meet Modi. Modi's not here, he's not going to be here. He told me to come meet you. I'll talk to you. Not good enough. Then the LET, as the resistance, carried out their attack on the very next day. And Modi had to come back. And he had to come back and he had to meet with J.D. Vance. All facts. Look. You have to understand, there are times in Pakistan, there are times in Pakistan when the Pakistani government is, in fact, on the side of the Pakistani people and opposed to the globalists. Unfortunately, that's the government. That's not the Pakistani military or the ISI, which is so incredibly corrupt. We'll talk about that. We'll go back to 1999, talk about that. We'll go back to a coup in 1999. Talk about that. Okay? They are so fucking corrupt. They get rid of politicians who don't play ball. They did it with Khan. They did it with, in 1999, what's his name? I forget his name. We'll talk about This is the MO of Pakistan, of dealing with politics and the military and the intelligence services in Pakistan. The intelligence services in Pakistan are bought and paid for. Did you know that there was a general who helped with the coup in 1999 because we put him up to it because we didn't like the guy the Pakistani people chose in their election? They didn't use electronic voting machines back then. They used paper, plexiglass, and pens. And so the voice of the people spoke, and they had their own prime minister, a guy we didn't like. So we had 4 generals run a coup on him, much like we had the generals run a coup in Syria to get rid of Assad. Okay? Those 4 generals, one of them ends up becoming head of the ISI as a result of him doing our bidding against the wishes of the people of Pakistan. Did you know that not only did that guy have to quit when Musharraf didn't want to? Musharraf's the guy who put in power. He was our boy. Musharraf had to fire that general because days after 9/11, 2 weeks after 9/11. Why? Because it turned out some investigative journalists found out that that general had been paying Muhammad Atta and 2 others regular payments through a guy by the name of, Ahmed was the general. Sheikh somebody was the guy who was the one who admitted that he was being paid because the ISI's head was giving him money to give to distribute out to the patsies who were over in fucking the United States waiting to be set up for 9/11. Okay, you with me? Muhammad Atta was down here in Florida when I went to work for a place down in Sarasota. One of the designers, there was 2 designers, a man and a woman. They would design and do drafting by hand, big boards like the old-fashioned way. And then once they had a design that was nice for these very nice houses, then they came to us. We'd take the designs and we'd turn them into architecture, into drafting, architectural sets and plans for them with AutoCAD. Okay. The woman designer, turns out, was married at the time when I went down there, was married to the guy who ran a flight school down in Sarasota. He was the one who said, and was quoted saying, I was in the plane with Atta and such. They came to us to teach them how to fly. They paid them for the flight school. He said Muhammad Atta couldn't fly a single engine fucking Cessna. He was the guy. Muhammad Atta was supposedly a radical fucking Islamist, strict Islamist, adhering to Sharia law. He was taking party fucking cruises with piles of cocaine and hookers. His girlfriend was a fucking stripper. And he would take the cruises off out of Tampa or wherever and would go down to fucking the Keys and come back doing blow, getting drunk. He was a Wahhabist, Salafist, a far right, quote unquote, Muslim. All that money was coming from the ISI. The same ISI that helped run LET, helped finance LET, and through LET, the quote, resistance that attacked and killed people on April 22nd, 2025. That's what the general, Ahmed, the general, we'll talk about it. I'll show you all this stuff. This is mainstream media shit. This is not stuff that came from, oh my God, it came from a truth site. Bullshit. This is mainstream media shit. They had to fire him because it was so mainstream. This is less than a month after 9/11. Did you know that he was meeting, the head of the ISI, was meeting various heads of various agencies in the United States 2 weeks prior to 9/11, and then for a little while after 9/11 before he got fired. Did you know he was sitting having breakfast with several high-ranking Congress critters and a State Department official the moment the first plane crashed into a building in fucking New York or D.C.? Might have been D.C. Did you know that? And some people will tell you at this point in time, because of Israel and this conflict, some people will tell you, oh my God, Iran did 9/11, or Saudi Arabia did 9/11. Not many of them will tell you Pakistan did 9/11. They had to fire that motherfucker. The guy he had given the money to, his aide, and then told him to give the money to Muhammad Atta, all proven, by the way. Once this came out, and the general, lieutenant general from the head of the ISI had to resign, they arrested Sheikh, what's his name? I'll show you in a second. They arrested him for the murder of Daniel Pearl sometime a little bit later. They arrested him for the murder of Daniel Pearl because they didn't want him around for the investigation. He had nothing to do with Daniel Pearl's murder. They hung him to keep him quiet. That's Musharraf. That's Pakistan. You want us to take some fucking asshole's word for it that Mando Weiss said it was all India and Modi, because there's a picture of Modi standing somewhere close to Benjamin Netanyahu? A bunch of this stuff is on this article, several articles that I have put up today. This is from 2012, talking about the menace that is Lashkar-e-Taiba. That's L-E-T, Lashkar-e-Taiba. This is where I talk about, where's the, Economic Times of India. Sheikh Sajjad Gul, a 50-year-old Kashmirian head of Lashkar-e-Taiba proxy, the Resistance Front, has emerged as a mastermind behind the Pahalgam terror attack, which claimed the lives of 26 people, mostly tourists, on April 22nd. Officials said Wednesday. Holed up in the cantonment town of, I'm not going to try, Rawalpindi, Pakistan, under the patronage of the Lashkar-e-Taiba. Gul, who also goes by the alias of Sajjad Ahmad Sheikh, has been a planner of a number of terror attacks, including targeted killings between such and such. I don't know why I did that. The group, under Gul's instruction, had shot 25 tourists at point-blank range after asking their religion. They also killed a tourist guide, used by Pakistan's external snooping agency, ISI, as a Kashmirian face of the public Punjab. So here's some information on how they came to the conclusion that that's what this was. That's who did this. As you can see here, they are admitting that they took a long time before unleashing this operation. They were waiting for Pakistan to do something against this terrorist network. They did nothing. So they took action themselves. It's called Operation Sindoor, and it took place yesterday. They did not bomb population centers. In fact, there's a image showing you exactly what they attacked. This one from the New York Times. As you can see, majority of the strikes took place inside the controlled area in the disputed region of Kashmir and whatever. And so these locations inside the disputed area, controlled by Pakistan, were clearly, according to India at least, training facilities, training locations for LET. And of course there were two others outside of that area, but they were also close to India where they could, do cross-border attacks and jump back after doing what they did. So that's what happens. That's what happened. Now, here's my rundown on this. If you want to know a bit about the ISI, Pakistan, LET, the origins of LET, there's a bunch of it here you can find. It's not hard to figure out. You can also go to this article here that I published on April the 24th, talking about the high-stakes fucking gambit that was going on between the United States, India, and China. Trump is trying to pressure India. And they're doing their bidding and supporting fucking sanctions and tariffs on China. And jacking their fucking tariffs up. Because they didn't want India buying surplus stuff to make up for what the United States wasn't going to be purchasing. To put more pressure on China. He even sent J.D. Vance over, but J.D. Vance got there and there was no Modi. Where was Modi? Modi was in fucking Iran. Talking about sanctions, talking about tariffs, talking about BRICS. He landed on April 21st, and these guys attacked on April 22nd. Here is the thing from Mondo Weiss. I'll show you that with a picture of Modi and, of course, Prime Minister Netanyahu, fucking war criminal and monster Netanyahu. Well, I'll show you one with a more friendly picture with Modi and fucking Putin. That, of course, is more recent. No, it's October 2024. He's accepted on May 5th, he accepted an invitation to visit the country. And we're supposed to demonize Modi. Of course we are. Here's a little history in the ISI and CIA and the State Department's past terrorist operations, this time focused on 9/11. And Jimmy Dore and heads of various truther groups are now running around trying to blame Iran for 9/11. Give me a break. CNN, October 1st, 2001. As much as $100,000 was wired in the past year from Pakistan ISI to Mohammed Atta, the suspected leader of the terrorist hijackings. CNN has been told by law enforcement sources. Pakistan, ISI, is a common conduit for money going in and out of Afghanistan. It's home to Islamic militant Osama bin Laden, the leading suspect in the attacks, but at the point, it's not exactly known where the funds may have originated. They originated in fucking Wall Street. From The Guardian, July 2004. Uh-oh. Hang on a second. Someone has just come by to visit. So I got to show you. Izzy. Hi, Izzy. I was so happy to get her back. She is now visiting. What's up? You want to walk on my computer? Go right ahead. Just going to stand there half on me and half on the desk. That's cool. If she turns off the recording, she turns off the recording. So be it. You put her over here before she turns off the recording. There you go. Pop. She doesn't get up here very often. She doesn't get up on the desk very often. And she's moving around back there. And there she is. Okay. Sure. She doesn't do that very often. It's kind of special. Let's get back to this. The Guardian. This is the guy, Omar Sheikh. Omar Sheikh, a British-born Islamist militant, which means he's not really an Islamist, he's just an asset, is waiting to be hanged in Pakistan for the murder he almost certainly didn't commit. That of Wall Street Journal reporter Daniel Pearl in 2002. Both the U.S. government and Pearl's wife have since acknowledged that Sheikh was not responsible, yet the Pakistani government is refusing to try other suspects newly implicated in Pearl's kidnapping and murder for fear the evidence they produce in court might acquit Sheikh and reveal too much. This is The Guardian, not Truther Mag. Significantly, Sheikh is also the man who, on the instructions of General Mahmoud Ahmed, then head of Pakistan's Inter-Services Intelligence, ISI, wired $100,000, actually it was more than that, before the 9/11 attacks to Muhammad Atta, the lead hijacker. It is extraordinary that neither Ahmed or Sheikh have been charged and brought to trial on this count. Why not? I'll tell you why not. It's pretty fucking obvious why not. Ahmed, and she's back on my computer. Okay. Ahmed, the paymaster for the hijackers, was actually in Washington. Now, Ahmed is Mahmoud Ahmed, the general, ISI, was actually in Washington on 9/11. They had a series of pre-9/11 top-level meetings in the White House, and she just turned off something. What did she turn off? I don't know. Am I still recording? Yes, I am. Okay, hop on. Screw shit up. Okay. Top-level meeting. She just keeps walking back and forth across it. With George Tenet, then the head of CIA, Mark Grossman, the Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs. When Ahmed was exposed by the Wall Street Journal as having sent the money to the hijackers, he was forced to retire by President Pervez Musharraf. Why hasn't the U.S. demanded that he be questioned and tried in court? Somebody wants more attention. She's the sweetest cat. But she is a handful. When you guys see a video I'm doing and you hear some cat in heat screaming, and even when she's not in heat, she's a handful. Go play with Bo. She loves Bo. Okay, sorry. Right. Look at that look. She just meowed at me. She's mad. Okay, she's mad at me. What? I'm frightened. What are you doing? I'm under attack from the kitten. Oh, I'm sorry. General Muhammad Ahmed was identified as one of the 4 army generals who helped in the 1999 Pakistan coup d'etat against the elected civilian government of Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. He regularly visited the United States, where he consulted with CIA officials in the Bush administration in the weeks before and after the terrorist attacks took place, and was hanging out with Congressman Peter Goss, U.S. Democratic Senator Bob Graham in Washington, D.C., having breakfast, discussing Osama bin Laden when the attacks took place. Totally 100% corrupt. And that is what's happened with Pakistan and the ISI. Their military, their intelligence services, the ISI, are bought and paid for by our national interests. They're run by DOD and the CIA, respectively. There's tons of information on that. All you got to do is fucking look. Here's the Mondo Weiss's bullshit. Mondo Weiss says they reacted before knowing that who could possibly have been behind it. They knew exactly who was behind it. They knew exactly where it came from. They knew exactly who was the mastermind behind it. And that's just a fact. It serves their interests. And that's where we are with that. And they go back, as the Guardian asked, why the heck were neither of those guys put on trial? They ran the terrorists. They paid the terrorists. But of course, no one said a word. And now, people have, oh my God, MBS is reneging on his promise to privatize Aramco. So Saudi Arabia did 9/11. Oh my God, now Israel wants to fucking attack fucking Iran. Iran did 9/11. Never question what fucking Pakistan and the ISI did. That's why. That's why. Because that's the real power. That's the real fucking terrorist organizations. And that's the global war of terror. Yes, Mossad helps. Yes, Israel helps. But so too did Saudi Arabia to some degree. They provided the goddamn patsies. And so too did the ISI. And someone provided the fucking labor to help fucking rig the goddamn towers. Settlers. Dancing Israelis. All right. So, just thought I'd share that with you. A lot of people are out there going, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. It's all about fucking Israel. How can you not stand with Pakistan and the ISI and our fucking assets over there? How can you not stand with them? Demonize Modi. Modi's evil. Here's a picture of him standing somewhere close to fucking Benjamin Netanyahu. Come on, folks. You want to blame Modi for 9/11? This is how it works. This is what the system is. Hillary Clinton practically admitted that they created LET. She did. When she said we were running the Mujahideen through fucking bin Laden during fucking the Soviet situation with Afghanistan in order to destabilize them and to drag it out and to cost the Soviet Union as much money as possible and to get them out of Afghanistan. And so we had terrorists. We hired proxies who, towards the end of it, when it was all said and done, decided to create the list, Al-Qaeda, so they could be used in the future as a for-profit fucking terror organization for our national interests. And they also created something called the LET. And that was a fact. That's where the money came from. It came from U.S. national interest. It came from the CIA. It came from ISI. Okay. So, there you go. As you can see, I'm very glad to have her back. Yes, I am. Anyway, I will talk to you later. I told you, she's a very special cat. She's a very nice cat. And she doesn't pee on my stuff. Do you? Anyway, I will talk to you later. Have a good one. And now I gotta go get ready for a physical therapy session. Oh, God. Take care.